Welcome back, ballers, to another episode of Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Kodi. Appreciate you guys sticking around for a couple minutes while we got started. We got a really exciting episode for everybody today. Just want to thank everybody for joining today, Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. Just asking for anybody in the comments if you guys could please submit a thumbs up. It looks like we got one from Coffee Girl. Hey, Jared. Hey, Ricky, good to see you guys. If we can just get a confirmation in the chat that you guys can hear us. Rambo, Kodi, it sounds like you guys can hear me as well, correct?
I can hear you and Kodi.
Yep, can hear you. Hello, everyone.
Fantastic. So, yeah, let's dive right into it. We want to keep this within an hour and a half as best as possible. As always, I will kick things off really quick. Once again, welcome to the show Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Kodi. This is now episode 4, I want to say, since we've started the trio. So really excited to keep growing on this series. But without further ado, Rambo, I hope you had a great birthday last week. Happy belated birthday now at this point. But if you could please take a moment to let the audience know where everybody can find and support your work.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to all the people who had sincere wishes for a happy birthday. And that really did make it a special day. A lot of patrons and on Instagram.
I think Rambo froze for a second. Kodi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't hear Rambo, though.
Yeah, I think he froze.
Yeah, my screen is buffering. But I'm just thanking everybody who did give me sincere wishes for a happy birthday, and that did make it a special day. And
great to hear, Rambo.
Yeah, and I can be found on patreon.com/thetruthcodes. There is some content that's free, but that would help me. There's only one tier. It's $5, and you have access to the Discord where patrons can share their decodes. There's a lot of talented decoders, code breakers for $5 a month. Well, there's some free content, and I'm on Instagram, The Truth Codes on Instagram.
Thank you, Rambo. As always, it's a huge blessing and a pleasure to have you in our corner every week. Kodi, please let the followers know where we can find and support you.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Thank you again to AJ and Rambo for having me be a part of this. And most of you guys know where to find me. In fact, this is the first time we are streaming simultaneously on both channels. I'm also streaming live on my channel at this. So thank you to everyone who normally watches me, and to anyone new. You guys can find me at the channel on the front, on the page here, Decoding with Kodi. And yeah, and then the support link is also listed. Buy me a coffee, Decoding with Kodi. And yeah, I'm really excited to get into this, and thank you everyone for watching as usual.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Kodi. It's really exciting to have you on board with us every week as well. For those of you that don't know, maybe those that are following this stream on Kodi's channel, my name is AJ, or in other words, Ball Don't Lie, spelled with 3 L's. You can find me on Instagram, Patreon, and Winnable for those that are interested in the sports betting side of gematria and coding and symbolism. But all of my links can also be found in the description below, as well as Kodi's and as well as Rambo's. So we always appreciate the likes, the subscribes, the shares, and the contributions along our journey. So without further ado, as always, I will kick things off. Not much is going to change when it comes to the theme of love, but also as well as the theme of Sirius the Dog Star. We've been talking about that quite a bit lately, as well as a couple other things. So we'll dive right into it. Last thing I'll just say, Cypher Circle is also another free platform that I've been building with some other members of the community. The link to the Discord is also available in the description as well. And this just opens up different topics for not just decoding and gematria, but a whole other slew of things: politics, conspiracy, science, whatever you're interested in. So that information is in the description. Kodi, I kind of ran through some of these visuals with you, but once again, I've made it very clear. I went to the University of Arizona, so that just has some sentimental value to me. And I've spoken a lot about how Arizona is directly connected to the theme of love. And you can just start with the state of Arizona being founded on Valentine's Day. and then segue to just this year. The main player when it came to basketball, his name was Caleb Love, etc. But sure enough, Arizona got eliminated this past weekend during the men's college baseball Final Four. I mean, it was called the World Series, but I believe there were maybe 8 total teams left playing to get to the final. But sure enough, Arizona had a 3-0 lead going into the 6th inning, and thank you to Zion Rose of all players for the Louisville Cardinals. Had a 2-run single, which gave Louisville its first lead during a 6-run 8th inning, which then ended up with them coming out with the win, only to win 8-3, where Hart, of course, in the reverse cipher equals 83. And Kodi, you were saying something else as well with regards to Venus and the Rose connections. Would you mind reiterating that?
Yeah. So the first thing that stands out when I hear Rose connected with your love theme is, his last name is Rose, so that's probably directly associated with the Venus Rose. The Venus Rose is basically 13. Earth has 13 years in the time it takes Venus to do 8 years. So it's a 13-to-8 ratio, and I've covered it pretty often. About a year and a half ago, I covered it on my channel, but definitely something that I noticed immediately when you were sharing that earlier with the rose. So I think that's interesting. That's about. Whoops, my alarm's going. I don't know if anyone heard that. My alarm was going off with the.
It was going off at 9:11 my time.
Oh, really? At 4:11 my time. I didn't even set an alarm for that time. That's weird. Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that's good. I appreciate you adding that contribution. Another thing that just stood out to me is if you look at just the middle letters of Arizona, you also have Zion in there as well. So it was Zion Rose who had that 2-run single in the 8th inning. But anyway, so there's another love on top of love theme with Arizona and Rose and the heart connections. Next, just this past Sunday, as we still have the, Oklahoma City Thunder with the love stamped on their jersey playing against the Indiana Pacemakers, as I like to call them now. We had another shooting, now this time in Indiana, Elkhart. I think it's pronounced Elkhart, right? Kodi, I think it's Elkhart.
I think it's Elkhart. Yeah, that's
Elkhart.
How they pronounce it. Elkhart.
Okay. Yeah, so in Elkhart, the mayor, Rod Robertson, says his city is heartbroken because of a mass shooting this past Sunday. And he also said that my heart aches for our community. So I mean, I feel like they're really shoving it down our throats with this one. Just with hearts all over the place. And segueing into more heart themes, Kodi, I sent this to you as soon as, once again, shout out to Ricky. She sent this to me. Just latest in the world of wrestling, you have The Rock revealing that he has gut issues and a serious heart scare. And you were talking to me a little bit offline more about a lot of stuff you've been seeing with the WWE, and I can't wait to see that. But I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add about The Rock specifically related to kind of this heart connection.
Well, what I mentioned to you earlier is there's another wrestler a few months ago that also had a heart issue, Triple H, who had a rivalry with The Rock back in the day. But what I just kind of thought about earlier after we talked before, this is probably directly connected to the Pope theme because The Rock is Peter, who Jesus built his church on. And then The Rock, he was born on 5/2, like Pope equals 52. Well, so does Heart. Heart equals 52.
Oh, yeah.
And 25, 52 and 25, like Pope and Heart. So this might directly be kind of connected to the Pope theme even.
Definitely. And lastly here in closing, and then I'll hand it off to either you or Rambo, whoever wants to pick up where I left off. Latest in the news of MLB, Major League Baseball, the Washington Nationals debuted their top prospect by the name of Bruce, the Bat Dog. And, as Rambo's been saying, going back 3 or 4 weeks, at least at this point, talking about the descending of Sirius, the dog star. And sure enough, now we have Bruce, the Bat Dog. You can easily make that connection with Bruce Wayne and Batman. One thing I will say I did, from what I caught, I made this measurement actually incorrect. So I measured it up to June 15th, but apparently the debut was actually on the 14th. So I apologize for the miscalculation. But when I did it at first, I saw that Bruce Wayne lined up with 117. So, but the main thing I thought was interesting was when you look up the fictional birthday of Bruce Wayne, sure enough, it's February 19th, which, for those that have read my book, Fool's Gold, you'll know that February 19th is also the birthday of Nikola the Joker Jokic. So that's all I had to kind of kick things off. I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to add to any of these slides or any other topics. I know there's a lot to cover.
I can add to why DC is being used in a Sirius the Dog Star ritual.
Okay.
Remember
Yeah.
that Michael Jordan is a Sirius symbol. He was born with the star Sirius ascending on the eastern horizon, which is really major. Among other birth alignments, I can see why he's considered this special golden child. He's 6'6". The rest of his family, I don't know if anyone else in the family is even 6 feet tall. So there's something different about him. But the main thing is that Sirius, which is a sacred star, venerated especially in ancient Egypt, but almost all civilizations, was ascending on the eastern horizon, which is why the Chicago Bulls used the instrumental song Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project as the intro music, and it's basically the signature song to the Michael Jordan dynasty for the Chicago Bulls. The song Sirius. That's because he's a Sirius symbol, which is why at the end of his career they took him to Washington, D.C. Why is Washington, D.C. so aligned with Sirius, like over here with the Nationals? Well, if you look at the ancient Egyptian goddess that represented Sirius, the goddess is Sopdet. The hieroglyph for Sopdet is, there are four symbols. One is a pointed symbol, one is a pentagram, the other is a semicircle, and the other is an oval. Those four make the hieroglyph for Sopdet. The goddess that represents Sirius, the dog star. The pointed symbol is the Washington Monument, the obelisk. The pentagram can be the Pentagon, but there's also a pentagram in the street patterns of Washington, D.C. Then the semicircle it's a two-dimensional dome, which is the Capitol Dome. And then the oval, there are two ovals. There's the Oval Office, and then there's the White House ellipse. All those four symbols, you can see, that's not a coincidence, it's four of them, represents the hieroglyph for Sopdet, who is the goddess for the star Sirius. So Washington, D.C. Has Sirius veneration coded into its layout and geography. This is why you see Sirius symbols. And we talked about Joe Biden, how he has a dog named Major.
Right.
That's a reference to Canis Major. That's the constellation which Sirius is in, the great dog. It's all over the place. Bill Clinton and the dogs in general, the presidential dogs, they're almost always Sirius symbols. And also where Sirius is at this time. Sirius is obscured behind the sun. Now, why that is a special time is because it is said that the sun now which life on Earth depends on, that the sun is receiving energy from Sirius because Sirius is behind the sun. And then the energy we're receiving from the sun is infused with the energy of Sirius. So that 70-day period when Sirius is behind the sun in ancient Egypt, was considered a sacred time because Earth is receiving that Sirius energy, which is infused into the sun. So this time of year, until it rises again, you will see some Sirius symbolism, especially in DC.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Rambo. I actually just wrote that down about the importance of why in ancient times, right, Sirius being behind the sun was so powerful. Another thing I just thought of too, I didn't have a slide for it, was I thought it was interesting that isn't Trump one of the first or only presidents to not have a dog while being in office? I don't know if he's the only one, but I want to say that most presidents usually have had a dog in the White House, right?
Yeah, there are usually, it's a tradition, presidential dogs. Those are rare because even Barack Obama, you can kind of tell a real dog lover, like George W. Bush. You can tell he's a dog lover. He loves dogs, especially
Yeah.
someone who loves. He's a dog lover. Barack Obama did not have the dog lover vibe. That was something that I guess his daughters, I guess, wanted it more than he did, but it is an important symbol. I think that one was just kind of weird. If the daughters wanted them, how come they didn't already have a dog before he became president? So yeah, that was kind of pushed on him. Obama was not a dog lover, but I guess the Trump, yeah, you're right. It is rare that a U.S. president does not have a dog. They're very important symbols.
And I think it's also rare that, Trump, I mean, I could stand corrected here too, but I don't know how many other past presidents have called themselves Batman or have those, kind of Batman connections. But I kind of tie it all together to say you have Trump who calls himself Batman, Trump who's one of very few presidents to never have a dog in office, at least not yet up until this point. But then sure enough, if you look up the history of Batman, he's had a few dogs actually. But the main one that comes up is Ace the Bat Hound is what it was called. And it just makes me think more about like Cooper Flagg having that twin named Ace, right? We kind of talked about that a while back when there was that twin stabbing story. But anyways, yeah. So
as far as Donald Trump being referred to as Batman, that actually has to do with the Hanged Man, because the bat hangs upside down, and in some tarot decks, the Hanged Man is the bat. So it has to do with his symbolism as the Hanged Man. He's done "I Can't Breathe." He's always, whenever he's asked to comment during primaries on the Democrat, he'll say the Democrat choked. He did it in the 2016 campaign. He did it again this time with Joe Biden. He says Biden choked like a dog. It's a thing he does at the January 6th Capitol insurrection, so-called. They had actual gallows, saying hang Mike Pence. They say that Donald Trump allegedly tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That didn't happen. It's part of the symbolism, the Hanged Man symbolism, strangling the Hanged Man. And you're aware of the picture of David Blaine, the performance artist and magician, hanging upside down, literally doing the Hangman, right next to Donald Trump in Trump Tower. So that's what the bat reference is. Primarily, it's the Hanged Man with Donald Trump.
Yeah, that was in the middle of like his campaign, right? Maybe not his official, but it was shortly before that.
Yeah, that wasn't part of the campaign. It was more to promote the stunt of, I guess they're kind of promoting each other, because David Blaine was going to hang upside down for a record. It's just endurance for a record amount of time. Yeah. And it was done in Trump Tower. But Donald Trump is quoted with the hangman. It was just another example of quoting Donald Trump with the hanged man. And that's what the bat is. It hangs upside down.
Kodi, anything else on your end now that I've kind of wrapped up my piece? I know you got quite a bit to share with regards to the WWE recently. We can pick up there, or we can pass things off to Rambo. I know he's got even more to add to that beautiful Back to the Future.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rambo he's got the Back to the Future already. So if he wants to go first, and because I have stuff to go Back to the Future as well. So
okay,
yeah, perfect. Yeah, good. Okay, you can segue on that. Okay. All right, so I'll let share the screen, and I'll just
yeah, I'm looking out for it.
Okay, present.
I'll just take a second to thank everybody who's tuning in tonight on both Kodi's channel and my channel. Please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Gem838 says, great to see Rambo. Hope you are well. Bones Jones says, Kodi and everyone, hello. It's really good to see everybody. We really appreciate the support and the time. Glad you're hanging out with us. So Rambo, I haven't gotten your request yet, but
I'll try to do entire screen. It won't let me share my entire screen. So It's only going to let me share one tab at a time, which
That's weird. Usually there's a tab right at the very top when you first hit present and you hit share screen. There's 3 tabs at the top. One should say entire screen.
Yeah, I put entire screen, but it doesn't say share. The share button doesn't light up. It's grayed out. Only cancel. It won't let me for some reason under entire screen. So I can do tab by tab. I don't know how that'll work, but okay, I'll do all right. So I want to show this ad. So those who followed my work are familiar with my association of the Stanley Cup and many other things, finals this year with Back to the Future, primarily based on the fact that the star of Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox, was born and raised in Edmonton, Canada, which is home of the Oilers. And because this year is a time-related year for the reasons I've given in my decodes, especially 25, time is 25 in Gematria. Back to the Future starts with all the clocks 25 minutes behind. Right at the beginning of the movie, all the clocks are 25 minutes behind. And then as he rushes to school, he has a 25-mile-an-hour sign behind him. And it starts on the 25th of October. So they are coding 25 into it, the time number, and it's 2025. So I'm saying no surprise that Back to the Future is relevant now, which, and Donald Trump is connected to Back to the Future. He's the president at the time. So the NHL had this commercial.
So Rambo, hold on just a second.
Okay.
Let me get your screen to stage. All right. I think we're good. I'll say something if we can't hear any audio, but I think we should.
Okay. This is from TNT, the broadcaster, and the National Hockey League itself on specifically the 2025 NHL Stanley Cup Finals.
The game is over. The Silver Trophy, Stanley Cup champions.
It's just under 3 feet tall, weighs 37 pounds, and it's engraved with 2,603 names. When they run out of room at the bottom here, they retire a band from up top and send it to the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's gotta be the most famous trophy in all of sports, right? But even that doesn't get to the heart of it. I mean, you put your hands on this baby and you're touching a time machine. And we'll take you as far back as 1892. Ottawa.
It would be a good thing if there were a cup held from year to year by the champion hockey team.
Lord Frederick Arthur Stanley. That guy loved this game.
Considering the general interest which the matches now elicit,
And the trophy, the cup, was his whole idea.
I am willing to give a cup which shall be held by the winning club.
Nobody could have ever predicted the legacy taking shape.
It's not a dream, it's Lord Stanley.
You run your fingers anywhere on this thing, and whatever you trace will instantly transport you back through time.
Have won the Stanley Cup.
It will put you face to face with the greatest teams this game has ever known. Legends whose lives would forever be defined by what they did on the ice. And the biggest games they ever played.
And the Capitals have won it.
The names can conjure up dynasties,
Wayne Gretzky on top of the world now.
stunning surprises,
The waiting is over. The New York Rangers are the Stanley Cup champions.
take you right up close to the most famous moments in the history of this sport. But the dents and the dings, they can bring you places too. Everywhere the winners have taken the cup, dressing rooms, buses, hometowns where it felt like it meant even more to moms and dads, old buddies and junior coaches, the ones who made the dreams possible in the first place. The thing about time is, the way we measure it and remember it and think about it can make the past feel really far away, like it actually happened in black and white or faded colors. But find a portal like this one to all those yesterdays, where the years, decades, and generations are all right here together, separated by just a few inches. You get a sense of what forever really means. What immortality can really give you. Tonight, the Oilers and the Panthers face off again to put their names on this trophy. Lord Stanley, you would love these guys.
I cannot help but marvel at these gallant sportsmen.
Their talent,
Speed, the swift glide of the skates.
He was shot out of a cannon.
their grit,
Strength.
their dedication to one another.
It is a testament to the camaraderie of the men who wear the sweaters.
Their stories,
You can come this far and come away empty-handed. The goal is to finish it off.
The cup is such a magical thing. You do it once and you want to do it again.
Let the rinks become a stage upon which the drama of human endeavor plays out.
this right here is why they play. To be the last one skating when the final horn sounds. To be remembered long after they lift the cup high in the air. To have their names travel through time.
You got it forever after this one.
Forever.
Yeah, so that goes along the lines of what I was saying. It's about time. Time is the theme.
Yeah, no, that was did that come out yesterday or today or something before the game?
Oh no, it's been out for a couple of weeks. I think it came out before the finals.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but I had already done my association with the Stanley. I mean, that was a long, but I do have a decode on that. It was a long ad, but it was all about what I've been saying it's been associated with, which is, and it has to do with the fact that Michael J. Fox is from Edmonton, and Edmonton is in the final. He's the Back to the Future.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, the other thing too, really quick, I'll just shout out Chad Kornick and Hungry Life saying ice reference.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just kind of, thinking about the riots and stuff going on. And just sidebar with the whole riots going on in California. Don't forget, before that, you had all the fires going on in the California, SoCal area. So it's almost this like fire and ice theme kind of going on. I don't have as much to add really to the fire because we had the fire stuff, right, from Maui to Malibu kind of thing. And then now we got the ice things with the riots.
Yeah, but
sorry,
the fire and ice both happened in LA. LA
Right.
has
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
LA,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then isn't the next Olympics going to be in LA?
Yeah.
I just thought of that. But anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to get sidetracked. But yeah, thank you, Hungry Life, for throwing that in there as well. Definitely a good catch.
Yeah, so I do have a decode on that commercial. It was a long commercial, so not I cut out the parts that are not having to do with time, but it is all about time.
Okay. Yeah. Can you add it to the stage?
I have a short excerpt from the decode on that commercial,
Okay.
but I'm not sure if I'll be able to share it. So,
So can
if
you
you
hit
can-
stop share?
yeah, I'll stop share and I'll try. I'm not sure if I can't, then that's fine. I'll just
Okay.
I
So
could
yeah, all you
just-
gotta do is
I could just kind of maybe narrate. I'm not sure, but yeah, okay, I'll try to.
worst case, I can always share my screen and Google some things if you wanted me to pull anything up.
Yeah, okay. Okay, share screen. What does window give you?
Window will allow for you to select which tab within Safari or whatever browser you're using. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and it does not let me share my whole screen for some reason, but because I have this, I just made a short excerpt, which I guess there's no way of showing it this way. All right, well, we'll have to wait for the decode. So basically, there's a part. Yeah, I'll just cancel it. There's a part there where, so the narrator there is it's Taylor Kish. He's a top actor, Hollywood actor. He's Canadian. He's the one doing the narration. With the part there where he says there are 2,603 names on the Stanley Cup. 2,603. This is before the completion of the current Stanley Cup. There are, he said, 2,603, which in numerology is 263, which in date terms is 26/3, which is 26th March. And you can look this up on the screen. Whose birthday is 26th March? Well, there are a couple of famous people, one of whom is Biff Tannen. Now, not the actor who plays Biff Tannen, whose his name is Thomas Wilson. But Biff Tannen has a birthday. It is 263, 26th March.
Yeah, let me here, I'll pull this up.
Yeah. Again, that's the 263. Yeah, so yeah, in the commercial he has said there are 2,603 names on it. Biff Tannen, that's his birthday. Another person who has that birthday is Nancy Pelosi,
Mm-hmm.
who was born in Baltimore, but she is famous as a San Francisco politician. But born in Baltimore. Now, what happened on Nancy Pelosi's and Biff Tannen's birthday last year?
Last year or this year?
Last year, the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Oh, wow, that's right.
Yeah, and that's in Baltimore. Pelosi's born in Baltimore. Biff Tannen is born on that date, and so the name Francis comes in. So she's a San Francisco politician. San Francisco is named after Saint Francis of Assisi. Pope Francis just died at 88. That's the Back to the Future number.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Thomas Wilson, who plays Biff Tannen, and that's Biff Tannen's birthday. His middle name is Francis. So
Thomas,
Thomas Wilson. Oh, you can Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, Thomas Wilson, the actor, not Wilson. Don't be below that. Yeah,
yeah, there he is.
Should get his full name. Actually, if
Francis, yeah, there you go.
Francis, yeah. So that's we have Francis, San Francisco, named after Saint Francis of Assisi.
Mm-hmm.
Pelosi is a politician from there. She's born in Baltimore, where the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed. Pope Francis died at
Kodi, you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think we just lost Rambo for a second.
I saw the buffering.
Yeah, no, you're back.
Yeah, so those are the connections with the number he gave there. I have a whole bunch of other stuff in the video upcoming, but what do you say, 2,603 that he mentioned in that, it does tie back to the Future and 88 Pope Francis. That's been going on, and in fact, speaking of bridges and San Francisco and the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge is referenced in Back to the Future. In Back to the Future 3, when the DeLorean makes its final ride, it ends up on a bridge, a red suspension bridge that deliberately looks like the Golden Gate Bridge for the DeLorean's final ride. So again, that's more San Francisco references. And also a shout out to a patron, Dennis Whitehead Jr., who he informed me that in Back to the Future 3, before they get on the locomotive, she's about to get on a locomotive. She asks where the locomotive is going, and he tells her San Francisco is the final destination. Of course, and her name is Clara in Back to the Future. That's Doc Brown's love interest, who asked where the train's going. Said San Francisco, final destination. Well, where is the next Super Bowl being held in San Francisco? Santa Clara. And who was in the Super Bowl the last time it was held in Santa Clara? The Panthers. We are back with the Panthers. It's gone full circle. So, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I do have a decode on that commercial coming up.
And that was with Cam Newton, right? when they
Yeah.
lost to the Broncos.
Yeah. So the main thing there is the Panthers, again, tied into all of this, that Panther symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Rambo, for that. Really appreciate it. Looks like, Kodi, I got your request to share screen. I'll hand it off to you, bud.
Yeah, it's perfect that Rambo just mentioned Back to the Future 3 because I stumbled upon this decode. For those of you who watched my video I made yesterday, I covered a wrestling thing that happened a year ago now, and I kind of got reminded of it because today or yesterday, or actually today, where some of you are, June 17th was the 1-year anniversary of this wrestling event. So I went back to it, and just let me kind of pull up my slides here. So exactly a year ago on WWE programming, they debuted a group called the Wyatt Six. And without getting into so much detail, those of you who have watched my decode a few days ago or just yesterday will know more details. But the Wyatt Six is a group of 5 people, of course, or it's 5 people actually, not 6. But for those of you who don't know, the Wyatt Six have been created off of Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt is a WWE superstar who died in 2023 on the exact day that Trump got his mugshot in Atlanta, and that was Kobe Bryant Day. Also, Kobe Bryant equals Bray Wyatt. Also, Kobe Bean Bryant equals 135, like Bray Wyatt, and Golden Gate Bridge. Going back to that also. But yeah, so they debuted on June 17th, 2024. And last year I was decoding this because they were releasing riddles. So this is their page. So the WWE dedicated a whole page of riddles to this group. And you can see it's called Kintsugi. And Kintsugi means golden repair. So we're going back to the Golden Gate again. Golden repair. What this means is, in Japanese, it means when a bowl is broken and it breaks and cracks, the Japanese fill it with gold. And what it means is, it's supposed to represent accepting somebody's flaws as their gold, as their suffering and their flaws as their golden. Basically, looking at somebody and saying, their flaws are golden, right? So we have this gold connection with the Kintsugi. And notice that the headline of this is called, "Can You Keep a Secret?" This is a reference to secret societies, the Illuminati. I'm going to show you why this is clearly tied to the Illuminati and the Statue of Liberty. But an open, and then at the top here it says, "An open door is a welcome that makes a stranger into a friend." So the reason they're mentioning doors here is because they're whole, and again, this could be a portal. Again, we're talking about portals, doors. The Pope opened up 5 holy doors at the beginning of this year on the 5th, going back to the 5s and the 25s. 5 times 5 is 25. Time equals 25. But yeah, to keep it short, this whole group is connected to doors. In fact, when they enter, they come through a door. Okay, the whole group comes out of a door. And this is what Bray Wyatt did before he died, right? And his brother Taylor, which has blew my mind that this guy who narrated this this commercial that Rambo brought up, his name was Taylor. Well, the brother of Bray Wyatt, and again, Bray Wyatt's the guy who died. His brother took over his legacy and started doing his theme. And this guy's name is Taylor Michael, like Michael J. Fox. And Rotunda is, you guys know the Rotunda in DC, right? So super coded name. He's born on 5/25. So here we go again. Time. And what is the exact release date of Back to the Future 3? 5/25, 1990. When is this guy born? 5/25, 1990. The same day. So this guy, and I found this stuff is just mind blowing to me because I didn't even expect to find any of this. I was just kind of messing around with last year because they returned last year to pay respects to Bray Wyatt and they created this group. Okay. June 17, 2024. So here I am a year later trying to figure out more about this ritual. And in their videos, they have these cryptic videos where they flash symbols, like many symbols. They flash this. This is a little screenshot from one of their riddle videos where they show a pyramid with the Statue of Liberty standing on top with a pharaoh or Egyptian, standing behind it. This kind of reminded me of Aleister Crowley in a way. I'm not saying it is Aleister Crowley, but it reminded me of that. And the reason it reminds me of Aleister Crowley is because Aleister Crowley had this thing for releasing Babylon, the woman. And if you notice in these riddles, once it gets down to the she part, the whole thing is she. They want to, when she speaks, the mountains tremble. It's waiting for her. I can only open the door. She must come through it. So they're talking about releasing she into the world through the door. Okay, so Aleister Crowley had this thing for releasing Babylon into the world.
This website looks like it was built in 1996.
Yeah, and it's specific reason because the whole theme of their thing is VHS and very old from the 90s themes, right? Which is going to tie back into the Back to the Future stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll explain more about that in a minute, but trying to go through this as fast as possible. But here's another thing they posted in their videos that they flash in and out. You have to pause the videos and kind of catch these pictures because they flash so fast that you can't even catch them. But look at this. They literally put, give me your tired, give me your poor, your huddled masses yearning to, I don't know exactly, but this basically is the poem that's in the Statue of Liberty. And it's called The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus. So this is the poem they're referencing in their riddle videos. And this was written, and I'm not going to read the whole thing now. Again, I want to go through fast, but look at what it says at the very last line. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. So again, I'm talking about the group that did the Kintsugi page, which says it means golden repair, golden gate. Okay, so this is a clear reference to the Statue of Liberty and the Golden Gate, the two very famous monuments in the United States. But the last part of this poem talks about lifting a lamp beside the golden door. Well, what does this guy from this group do? He literally lifts a lamp as he comes out of a door. And then they keep trying to tell people to remember who they are. Like multiple times in their videos, they're flashing these things, going through doors, and they say, remember who you are. Remember who you are, like going back, right? Back to the future. In fact, remember who you are equals Back to the Future. It actually equals 176, which is the date they debuted. June 17th is 176. And it's also, as I'll get to, it's also important to the Statue of Liberty. But so anyway, I just kind of did a quick thing here and talking about how this is all connected to the Illuminati. In fact, Wyatt 6, the name of the group, equals Illuminati in 2 ciphers. I talked about that in my last video. If you guys want to go back and watch my video from yesterday, basically the Statue of Liberty is on the pyramid, which kind of represents liberty or the illusion of liberty on old power structures or old secret symbols, because the pyramid is a symbol of the Illuminati, the secrecy. So there's a lot of symbolism there. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but so yeah, this is the meat of the presentation. So the poem that they put in their riddles ends with, I lift my lamp beside the golden door. And again, I told you, he is famous for coming out of a door, lifting a lamp in the same arm that the Statue of Liberty is holding her lamp. Okay. So very, very identical in the way they're presenting this guy. And again, don't forget, this guy's born on the exact day that Back to the Future 3 came out. Okay. But Liberty Enlightening the World is actually the official title of the Statue of Liberty. That equals 139. Well, this guy was born on numerology of 139. Also, when his group debuted last year on June 17th, it was exactly 139 years after the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York. Can you believe it? Like the dude literally puts this, I mean, they're not even hiding it. They put the Statue of Liberty in their riddle for a reason, for people to go look into it. specifically to look into it. And then he's born on 139 date numerology, like the title of the Statue of Liberty. And then they actually debuted their group exactly 139 years after the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York on June 17th, again. And look at the year, 1885. Well, where is Back to the Future 3 travel back to? 1885. This guy's born on the date of Back to the Future 3 release. And that was already mind-blowing enough for me, but it kept getting more mind-blowing because this guy is born exactly 1281 moon phases after the Statue of Liberty was dedicated. In Jewish gematria, Latin, the Statue of Liberty, 1281. And he's born on 25/5, the Statue of Liberty, 2255. I mean, this is going from a date, October 28th, 1886, the dedication date of the Statue of Liberty, and you go exactly 1281 lunar phases forward, and you land on this guy's birth and Back to the Future 3 release. And that's literally the gematria in one of the most important ciphers, in my opinion. The Latin cipher, 12. And this cipher is hard to get matches. This is super hard to get matches in this site. This cipher, you're not going to easily find 1281s. And this is the perfect ritual for you, that you've ever seen, like in their face. And the people that were decoding these riddles from this group were actually normal people. The normal WWE fans were supposed to be decoding these riddles. And I couldn't figure out last year why the debut of this group was on June 17th. And then a year later, here I am figuring out everything and how it all goes together. Their first X post, again, it said this is their first post on X, which was 7 days after they debuted on June 24th last year. All it says is, we made them remember, which happens to equal Back to the Future. And that's their debut date. And again, this guy's born on the day of the release of the movie, and in the movie they go back to the same year that the Statue of Liberty came to the United States. Oh, and I wanted to talk about Caitlin Clark for a minute because she's really connected to the New York Liberty. She just came back and scored a huge game against the New York Liberty. I think she looks a little bit like the picture of Emma Lazarus, the one who wrote the new Colossus. I'm not saying it's actually completely identical, but I think they have a resemblance. And she's been in the news right now because, she got injured against the New York Liberty and then came back against the New York Liberty. So, I mean, we can talk more about her later, but she's not the main point of this. But so look at this, guys. I could not believe. So I decided to watch Back to the Future 3 after I found all this. And the first scene of the movie, you guys can see that playing in the background, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see the video playing?
Yeah, howdy doody.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this blew my mind. I literally turned on this movie just so I could see if there was any connection to this wrestler. And guess what the name of this wrestler is, guys? His name is Bo Dallas Taylor Michael Rotunda. But what is his stage name right now? Uncle Howdy.
Oh. Huh.
And 1 year ago, I could not figure out why they were calling this character Uncle Howdy. I just could not figure it out. It was like, what is this? What is with this Uncle Howdy stuff? Because like out of all the stuff they could have been naming this guy, I just couldn't figure it out. I knew there was symbolism behind it, and now I know why. Literally, this guy's birth, the day of his birth, this movie released, and he is coded into the first scene of the movie. And more than just the howdy thing. Let me bring it back up. So the first scene so what happens is Doc Brown faints, and then Marty McFly brings him to the house, and then they're sleeping, and then it screens to this TV here. And look at this TV, guys. This is exactly like the TV that Bray Wyatt used to use in his Firefly Funhouse. And it's in the same exact style that the Wyatt 6 used. They used this cryptic old style flashing TV. If you watch their cryptic videos, they use this flashing staticky TV stuff. And Howdy Doody was a puppet show. And Wyndham, this is Bray Wyatt. This is the guy who died. This is the brother of the guy who's Uncle Howdy, right? But he died, and Uncle Howdy took over this guy's character. And what was the original show that Bray Wyatt did? It was a puppet show. Are you believing this, guys? Like, they're putting this riddle out for normal WWE people to follow. And I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe this guy was born on the same day. And then he's literally coded right into the beginning of the movie with Howdy Doody. And here's Uncle Howdy taking over the puppet show. And what did he do with his brother's puppets? He brought his brother's puppets to life. So here's the old Bray Wyatt. This is from years ago, before Bray Wyatt died. Remember, he died in 2023. And he used to have the puppet show called the Firefly Funhouse. And here's his puppets right here, the pig and the rabbit, right? Well, here is his puppets brought to life. And this is the debut picture when they debuted on June 17th. And yeah, the pig is the guy with the gas mask. The rabbit is in the back here. And here's the Abby the witch, right? So they have the witchcraft theme in there, and then they have the buzzard, Mercy. So anyway, there's way more to it, but I don't want to take up any more time. But just absolutely astronomically improbable that all that would align so well.
Well, that was a phenomenal find, Kodi. Seriously. You just so happened to be watching Back to the Future 3. What you said that was very recently.
Just imagine my reaction. I just turned. I asked ChatGPT this. I asked, is there any connection to Back to the Future and the name Howdy? That's what I asked it before I even watched Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
And then it said, well, yeah, it might have a connection because they're in the Old West and they go back. And then it said something about how the people in the movie say howdy to Marty McFly when he goes back. But that didn't even happen. Like, I was going to go into the movie to verify that. That's all I was looking for. I was just going to go in to see if that actually happened in the movie. And then I'm sitting here watching the first scene of the movie, and the first thing I see is howdy. And it's in the same style that they released their riddles with the TV and the flashing TV. And I just about blew up, man. I was like losing my mind because I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
well, because you were looking into that for a while, and then it finally something came across that palette.
Yeah, a whole year, man. A whole year I couldn't figure out why they named this guy Howdy.
Yeah.
Like, why? Uncle Howdy also equals Washington and upside down. So that would go with RAMBO stuff with the upside down. And but what's interesting about yesterday, which might connect to this year, is the Statue of Liberty coming to New York will turn 140 years. Remember, I told you last year it was 139 years. And that's the gematria of liberty and lightening the world is 139. Also, Freemasonry equals 139. It's a big Freemason number. But anyway, this year is 140 years after the Statue of Liberty. And Uncle Howdy equals 140. So, and actually what happened with this group is they came back last year and they debuted. And then they kind of fizzled out. They stopped using them, which is on purpose. People think this stuff is just organic. All the fans think it just happens naturally. But the WWE does this stuff on purpose. They make these groups either get boring on purpose or they make them get, interesting on purpose. So they made this group get boring and then they phased them out. They just disappeared from TV. But they just came back now after being gone for months. And now he just released a video on YouTube saying that the judgment is in, and that just go watch this video on YouTube of him just a few days ago talking about how the time for mercy is up. Like, that's what he was saying. Like, they're literally telling us their plan straight to our face using these characters. That's what these people are doing. And so yeah, that's all I got. But I know there's more to it too with the Statue of Liberty and the Golden Gate, because at the end of that poem in the Statue of Liberty, it says, I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Well, the Statue of Liberty is the lamp, and the golden door is basically what I think is the Golden Gate. And as RAMBO said in the movie Back to the Future 3, which is exactly what I already showed you, this guy is 100% connected to. It says, the final end of the line, the final destination is San Francisco.
Great decode, amazing. Mind blowing.
Yeah, it makes me think too. I maybe it's just me, or the fact that you touched on the Statue of Liberty a lot, but like, makes me think. I feel like I've been hearing that liberty, 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 liberty commercial like for the last 5-6+ years at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It almost makes me think I want to dive deeper into just Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. You know, that whole theme, especially in light with the kind of stuff that Rambo's done with Allstate, you know, in those insurance commercials.
Yeah, so there's a lot of symbolism there. I can explain some of the symbolism.
Please.
That's a pretty mind-blowing decode. It was pretty amazing. All right, so in tarot, there is a tarot card that represents each zodiac sign. The zodiac sign of Virgo is represented by the tarot card, the Hermit. The Hermit is Virgo. The Hermit tarot card is a wise old man, a sage, who is holding up a lamp. Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Hermit is on the left. Yeah, that's so yeah. The second to the left in the yellow, that's the Magician. But that's to the far left, that's the Hermit. The Hermit card represents Virgo. Now, as another image you want to look up, which is look up Demeter, Demeter. That's a Greek goddess who's known as Sirius or Sirius in Rome. So she holds up. Okay, she's a grain goddess. Okay, I can see a picture of grain. Oh yeah, okay, that's a she's a grain goddess and she holds a torch. So holding up the torch and holding up the lamp it's the same symbol. So yeah, I mean, if you scroll through, yeah, so a lot of these pictures are just modern artists doing their renditions. But basically, Demeter, the mythology is that Demeter's daughter is Persephone, and Pluto abducts Persephone, or Hades to Greece, this was Pluto, the same, abducts Persephone and takes her to the underworld, his realm. And that is a metaphor. She's a grain goddess. So that's a metaphor for the end of summer as you're going into the fall. That's the final harvest of the year. And that's the time of Virgo. Now, the symbol for the zodiac sign of symbol is Demeter, the grain goddess. So the symbol for Virgo is the grain goddess. It's usually a goddess holding grain, but she also has a torch. So the torch is her mother. So the torch is Demeter looking for Persephone, her daughter. That is the symbol for Virgo, and the tarot card for Virgo is the Hermit, which holds up the lamp. So what that wrestler is illustrating is Persephone. This is the end of the final harvest, the end of summer, as the sun descends into the underworld, and Persephone is a cycle symbol, so she gets abducted. Yeah, these are good pictures. These are Persephone. So yeah, that picture you're hovering on, that's a good one, because so Persephone is a cycle symbol. So she goes into the underworld at the fall, into the realm of Pluto. She's the consort of Pluto. Now, the picture you're hovering on there is when she returns. In spring, she returns to the above ground, and that is Demeter, who has her arms open to embrace her daughter coming back. And that is Mercury, who is he's a psychopomp. He can cross borders, and he can transcend the spirit world and the material world. So he has to guide her from the underworld back to the above world, and from the above world so that's Mercury. Now, Mercury rules Virgo, so the ruling planet of Virgo. I know there's a lot of facts. I don't know if Might be hard to retain all of these. So the ruling planet of Virgo is Mercury, and there he is. Mercury can go into the underworld and back out. He guides souls. Mercury also rules Gemini. So this wrestler, Bo Dallas, is a Gemini. He's a Mercury symbol, so he's a Virgo symbol holding up the lamp, which is the tarot card. Yeah, so that's the Hermit, which is Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules 2 zodiac signs. Mercury also rules Gemini, and he's a Gemini. He's a Mercury symbol, and Mercury guides Persephone to the underworld in the fall and back up to the above world in spring. Now, what that cycle is a symbol of, which I've said many times, is the reincarnation cycle. So when you descend and then you reincarnate in a different body, and that cycle continues. And what is the purpose of incarnating ultimately? The purpose of incarnating, so when you incarnate into a new body, you get a new identity, but that's not the real you. The 3D matrix it's very convincing and it's very powerful. And what you have to discover is that eternal part of yourself, that the part of you that doesn't die, that is your true self. And the way you get out of that cycle symbol is the reincarnation cycle that goes on and on until you understand what the purpose of reincarnating in 3D is. It's a challenge. It's an illusion. And you have to see past the illusion and discover your real self. That flesh and blood entity you see in a mirror, which is going to die, is not the real you. And everything attached to it, your religion and all these, it's a realm of ego. That's the ego. You have to learn to separate from the ego and identify with your true self. Of course, when you incarnate, you forget, your memory is erased. To make the challenge that hard, you have to somehow discover who you are. And that is how you get off the cycle. This is all about the cycle. And the sage, the hermit, that's what he is, a sage. So that hermit figure it's the archetype of these sage figures like Buddha, like Jesus, Zoroaster. In Star Wars, they have Yoda. Yoda's part of this archetype. The messengers, Mercury is the messenger. The prophets, like Prophet Muhammad. These are all of that same archetype, that messenger archetype, which is Mercury, which is the hermit, and that is a sage who teaches you about these things. How to get off the cycle. Well, getting off the cycle is when you can see past this 3D matrix. If you think this is the real you, it's not. You existed before this. You'll exist after this, but the challenge is you forget who your real self is, the eternal part. Which is why, and this is the kicker when in Kodi's presentation, what is the motto of this group? Which is pretty amazing. I think they nail it here. What is it again? I wrote it down. It is, remember who you are. That is the clincher. That's exactly what it's about. This is about the reincarnation cycle. Remember who you are. That nails it. I mean, it's a pretty amazing ritual. So that's what all the cycle symbolism and so Demeter, who goes into the underworld, who holds the torch. The Statue of Liberty is Demeter holding the torch. The same image as the hermit. That's what the Statue of Liberty is. And the kicker, the one that really, I thought this is where they're going with it, but that motto clinches it. Remember who you are. And that is the challenge of reincarnating in this 3D illusion.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when you were touching on the reincarnation piece as well.
Yeah, remember who you are. That is how you, until you do, you're going to keep going through the cycle. Just like Persephone. You're going to go into the underworld. This is the underworld. That's the thing. This is the underworld. When you die, that's another thing. What is the metaphor for the portal from the spirit plane into the material plane? It's the silver gate.
Right.
That's the feminine gate. That's the portal into the material flesh incarnation. Now the portal outward from the flesh incarnation, which is death, death from this realm, the underworld. It's not really death, the death of your body and your ego, which is not the real you. So when when you go from this realm, the 3D realm, into the material realm, the metaphorical portal is the Golden Gate. That is why he holds the lamp at the Golden Gate. The Golden Gate is the portal from the material plane into the spirit plane, which is the above world. This is the underworld. And then you come back if you didn't accomplish your task, which more likely than not you didn't, which is to remember who you are. That's what the Golden Gate is. This is pretty deep. This is amazing decode. I'm glad Kodi shared it. The symbolism here is super deep.
Yeah, and Rambo, you notice the symbol they used for their whole thing was about Pluto.
Oh, was it?
It was even the normies, the normal decode. Because what happened was with this is they released these riddles to the public, knowing that even the normal people who have no interest in what we do would also be trying to decode this, not for the reason that we do it, but for the reason that they like wrestling and they wanted to figure out who was going to return and who was going to be part of the group. And so they literally released. So notice that the symbol of the Wyatt 6 is the Pluto symbol, right? It's the it's the Pluto symbol with the circle with the cycles, just like what you're saying there. And the last person to be, or the Nikki Cross character. So I'll show you. She's like the witch character, but she her name is Nikki Cross, which is a reference to the cross and Christ, right? But she has the birthday of April 21st. Well, when did the Pope just die?
Oh, wow.
So this, I haven't even looked into all these different characters and how they might be connected to it. I have a feeling that Dexter Loomis, this guy who plays the Buzzard, Mercy the Buzzard, I have a feeling he's going to be super connected to the Statue of Liberty. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to mention that the Pluto symbol is, and when the normal people were decoding these riddles, they even pointed us to the Pluto symbol. That was like even the normal people all knew that this was connected to Pluto. They even knew that this was part of Plato's cave. I think, let me see if I can find it. Wyatt 6, Plato's cave. Yeah, so this is again from last year, all these different riddles that people were trying to figure out. So Plato's cave is basically the light is shining the crow on the wall, but all these prisoners, all they see is the shadows on the wall. They don't understand the true reality, right? Let's see what this says here. So you can see that all these different wrestling fans were going through and decoding these riddles, and they were, trying to do their own figuring out what all this was about. And again, if you go through, if you guys want to find this site and go through all their riddles, and there's so much in here to decode. The can you keep a secret? Of course, again, secret society stuff. But this webpage is called www.com/archive_recovered. But what's interesting is their last post was even this year in this thing, and it says, "Be not mistaken, my wrath will be swift. I do not forget the taste of blood in my mouth. Consequences are inevitable." So that was the last post they made.
How do you know that was this year? I'm just curious. Where's the timestamp on that?
Because I went back and on their Twitter page, it posts. They made a post of these 3 words here.
Oh, okay.
They actually made 3 posts on January 8th this year. That was their last post in this. It was all these last 3 right here: Anteco, Hesychia, and Ecdiciasis. I don't know. But I know that one of these means stillness. I think this one, the one with the H, means stillness. And this one means revenge. Or actually, let me just copy it and see. But it's all Greek, of course. So they're using a lot of Greek stuff in their riddles. Yeah, it means vengeance or retribution. So that's their last post was literally about vengeance. And last year when they returned, one of their last posts they made was massacre. The eye of the storm approaches. It is inevitable. One chance of survival. Instructions to follow. Well, again, this was posted last year on June 17th, around that time when they debuted. Well, what's interesting about that is a massacre, right? Like a bloodbath. And they were talking a lot about this. Well, you know how I showed you that if you go back 1281 moons from the birth of this guy, you get the Statue of Liberty. It's exactly 1281. Well, if you go back 1281 from their debut last year, if you go back the same amount of moons from their debut last year, you land on what they called Bloody Sunday, which I think is what they were referencing with their debut as well, because when they debuted, it was all about massacre. And how this connects to Back to the Future is when in Back to the Future 3, when they time travel, Marty McFly meets his Irish grandparents. And this debut last year, the massacre, again, if you go back the same amount of date span from his birth to the Statue of Liberty, it's the same date span from their debut to Bloody Sunday, which again was in Ireland. And it's basically a Bloody Sunday of the Irish. Or am I wrong here? Hold on. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, that's the movie. I think that's the movie. Hold on. Bloody Sunday, 11/21/1920.
I believe that was Northern Ireland, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, I was right. Yeah. So again, if you go back 1281 moons from that, you'll see that. And if you watch the video of the Wyatt 6 debut, they literally mocked somebody getting killed. They go into the back of the WWE stage and they see all the WWE workers killed, massacred. Even one of the wrestlers, Chad Gable, he gets a head wound. He gets hit in the head. See if I can find just a picture of it so you can see. And Chad Gable represents the United States. He's the American guy. Yeah, here it is right here. So this is literally a picture, a screenshot from the live television where the Wyatt 6 debuted, and they go to the back and they see all these massacred WWE workers, but they have one wrestler in there that gets hurt, and it's this guy right here. He gets a head wound, right? And he's acting as if he's dead. Of course, he's really not, but yeah, so there was so much symbolism. I mean, you could go on for days with this probably, but the Pluto thing is what I really wanted to mention because I didn't know if you noticed that their symbol was literally Pluto, and then you started talking about Pluto, and I was like, oh, well, that makes complete sense now because, and I also noticed the Saturn symbolism there. I'm sure you can also see that because the sickle is in there that they've named the Wyatt 6, and it's a play on words of the sickle, which is Saturn. But yeah, of course, that connects to time, Saturn, and time. So yeah, so much I could say, but I'll let you guys finish it off. So
yeah, so when it comes to Pluto, the tarot card for the planet Pluto is the Judgment card. The Judgment card also has on it the cardinal cross, which is the red cross, the plus sign cross. I think in Nikki Cross's name, that is what her name is referring to. Because they're so heavily quoted with Pluto, just look at the tarot card for the planet Pluto. It has the cardinal cross on it. Now, the cardinal cross is the cycle cross. So the cardinal cross is made up of the cardinal signs, the signs that start each season. Aries, which starts the entire zodiacal cycle. It's like number 1, which is in spring. Cancer, which is summer. Virgo, which is the fall, and then Capricorn. And that's the cycle of the sun. The equinoxes, the sun at its birth, the sun at its highest point in Cancer, the sun at its death, when it goes over the equator in Libra, and the sun at its lowest point in the underworld in Capricorn. That's the plus sign. That's the cardinal cross. That's the cross that's on the card that represents Pluto, which is judgment. So the name Nikki Cross, I believe that's the cross that it's referring to.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And again, a lot of this stuff you're bringing together in my mind. You know, I found all this, and then I understand the group so much more now. A year ago, when I was looking into it, I was like trying to figure out some of this stuff, and with all the stuff I discovered and what you've just said, I mean, everything is falling into place now, and I'm sure there's way more to even find still, but it's definitely falling more into place.
Yeah. Plus, I see what they do this with. I mean, I wouldn't use mainstream entertainment, Hollywood, and so forth to even though, of course, they're all run by secret societies who have these hidden, you know, gems of truth which they sneak in there, but it's gems of truth in the middle of, you know, pretty much garbage, more or less. So that's what they do. There's some really deep imagery, deep life lessons, secrets of the ancient mystery traditions are in there, but in the middle of, so that's what you got to do. You need to separate somehow the nuggets of truth in there, and they have some really deep. I'm pretty. This is pretty mind blowing. I'll be honest. But I see that what the symbolism primarily is about. But all this stuff with massacres and stuff, like they always have to throw that stuff in there. So it's like a positive message coming from a negative messenger. But nonetheless, you gotta. It's like Aleister Crowley, perfect example. That's where you get deep, genuine spiritual insight from a person who's just not a positive character. But nonetheless, you have to focus on the message. That's what I'm getting here. I say only one last thing about the Statue of Liberty on top of the Great Pyramid of Giza. What they have in common is the 7-11. So the Great Pyramid of Giza is built at a 7-11 ratio. That's the base 11 and the height 7. That's the ratio. The Statue of Liberty has a 7-pointed crown. You have to see this from the top, direct. 7-pointed crown on an 11-pointed pedestal. So 7-11 is coded into the Statue of Liberty, and it's coded into the Great Pyramid of Giza. So I just find it interesting. The two of them put together, that's what they have in common, that number 7-11.
And, in Back to the Future 3, there is a reference to 7-11. Marty McFly says, I can't remember what part of the movie, but he says, somebody asked him, where did you learn to shoot like that? Because he's shooting these bottles on the thing, and one of the guy that gives him the gun says, where did you learn to shoot like that? He says 7-11. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. That reminded me of that. And then also one quick thing on the Pluto thing is, don't forget, they did all this Pluto stuff right in front of the public, right in front of everyone's eyes, just as the Pluto was hitting the United States. Because remember, on Trump's birthday last year, June 14th, 2024, was the actual amount of days. It's like 90,560 days or something like that.
Yeah, 90,560. Yep.
Yeah. So that was like, they were literally debuting 3 days after that, this group with their Pluto symbol. And so they were clearly giving homage to this thing that we were all talking about. It was like their nod to like, oh yeah, you guys are talking about this Pluto return. Yeah, here you go. Here's this group with Pluto as their symbol. And so,
yeah. Plus, remember what powers the flux capacitor in Back to the Future. It's plutonium.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, plutonium's a big part of that.
And Mercury, of course, is, you could say the whole thing's about Mercury with the time travel and the car and the Mercury being the god of transportation and of course, as you've already mentioned, but there's, and then the Sirius stuff is in there as well, of course, because the dog and the so that they're paying homage to a lot of the astrology stuff. And also, in the movie, they in Back to the Future 3, because that's the one I just watched, so I'm more fresh on that one. But the one girl, Clara, she has a telescope that she wants Doc to fix. So that's another reference to looking into the stars, looking to, I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I was going to add, and I don't want to necessarily throw a monkey wrench into it because I don't necessarily know where it would connect, if at all. But when you were showing what you did about Bo Dallas, besides his birthday being the release date of Back to the Future 3, right? May 25th. Let's not forget it's also the same date in history, kind of going back to Rambo's points about Trump and the Hanged Man themes with Batman. But May 25th, Memorial Day, same date that George Floyd, right, had his neck kneed on for, what is it, 8:46 now?
And remember too,
9:29.
They changed it, yeah.
A few decodes ago, I had done a Sirius decode about Roman Reigns, who's the most famous WWE wrestler. When's his birthday? May 25th.
Same day, May 25th.
So this guy's born exactly 5 years. Oh, that's why. Because, okay, so Bo Dallas is born on Roman Reigns' birthday, but that's 5 years later, right? 5 again, like 5 to 5 is 25. Well, 85 is when Roman Reigns is born. Well, when did the first Back to the Future movie come out? 85. And the two most important stars in the WWE right now are both born in 85. In fact, all the most famous wrestlers right now in the WWE all have that 1985 birthday. Like at least a good majority of them. Roman Reigns is born in 85. Cody Rhodes, born in 1985. And a clear reference to Cody Rhodes is that poem about the Statue of Liberty where she mentions the new Colossus. The new Colossus references the Colossus of Rhodes. So this is where you tie the whole WWE story going on. And it's not just, confined to this Wyatt 6 stuff. The Wyatt 6 stuff was literally tied perfectly into Cody Rhodes, who is obviously directly connected to the Colossus of Rhodes.
Well, and Cody, what I was really going to get at but thank you for adding on to that, because I think maybe this further ties in why I'm bringing them up. But when I was looking at the stuff you were sharing about Bo Dallas, I noticed, his birthday, the connections he made there. But I also noticed that he was born in Brooksville, right? It was like Brooksville, Florida. I think it was. But it made me think of JFK. And when you take May 25th and you add the end date to JFK's birthday, that's a span of 5 days, right? It's technically 4, but if you add the end dates, 5 days. But that matters because JFK, right, as we know, who was shot in Dallas,
right,
on a road, right? You're talking about Cody Rhodes, so there's kind of that connection there. But JFK was born in Brookline, Massachusetts. Right, so like even the birthday, the name of the birthplace, I don't know. I just started thinking more of JFK. Bo Dallas, JFK killed in Dallas. Brooksville, JFK from Brookline, right? So I don't know. I just kind of wanted to throw that in there. Just as you continue on kind of that research.
Yeah, the Dallas thing is interesting, and that was his old name. He doesn't really, you not hear him mention. They'll still reference him as that.
He's Uncle Howdy now.
Yeah, he's Uncle Howdy, but that's his alter ego supposedly. So It's interesting. But the Dallas thing, the BO, like Bo, is a clear reference to Barack Obama, because when he originally had his character Bo Dallas, it was years ago. It was when Barack Obama was still president, and he would walk around with a election sign, like electing. And this was at the time of Obama. I think probably when Obama was being elected for his second term, this Bo Dallas, BO, would walk around with the Bo sign, like Barack Obama, BO.
Also, remember when I said that Barack Obama is not really a dog lover? He just had to get a dog for this symbolism. Yeah. His dog was named Bo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But BEAU?
No, BO.
Oh, it was BO. Okay.
Yeah, that's the name of their dog. Yeah.
Huh. Well, that makes it even more interesting. and of course, Obama, a president like JFK, and and Obama is born on the opposite day of the year, or the backwards date of the year of JFK. Obama's born on the 2/16 day of the year. JFK is born on the day leaving 2/16. So. Yeah.
Obama also ties into that Egyptian theme, that the Great Pyramid and the 11:7 ratio that they're showing there with the Statue of Liberty. He actually ties into that. And if you see the work of Freeman Fly, I think he did one of I'd have to say, the most mind-blowing decode I've ever seen in my life. I'll probably never see anything that tops it. Barack Obama just look at him. He looks Egyptian, especially people who lived in Africa or the Middle East. They know what a person looks like when they're mixed race between Middle Eastern and Sub-Saharan African. It's a distinct look, and he looks Egyptian. I think he Obama is referenced along with that Egyptian symbolism as well. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Even his daughters, those are if you're from the Middle East or from Africa, you know what people from that region look like. His daughters, they are from that region of Northeast Africa. It could be Egypt or Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti. That's where they look like. They're from.
Mhm.
Ancient Egyptian symbology, very profound with the Obamas and the reincarnation theme of pharaohs were mummified because what they believed is they want to preserve the bodies so they could reincarnate in their same bodies. That's actually what was behind reincarnation. So that goes into the cycle and the judgment card. What's on the judgment card? It represents Pluto on in the tarot. It's bodies coming out of graves, coming back to life.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, you could just go down a whole new rabbit hole on this one, but the Barack Obama connection that you mentioned, absolutely connected to all this Pluto and the imagery they put out. They know something. They're telling you. I think Freeman Fly is validated with that symbolism. They know. No coincidence that when Obama was president, American Pharaoh won the Triple Crown. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, there you go.
No
Yeah,
coincidence.
and Joseph in the chat has talked a lot about, of course, Joseph's whole channel is about Barack Obama. Barack Obama looking like Akhenaten, the
Exactly.
10th ruler, the 10th
Exactly.
ruler of the 18th house. And in Luke 10:18 in the Bible, it's lightning coming from heaven, right? And Barack means lightning, and Obama means, if you translate it out, it means from the heights. So lightning from heaven. And remember what happens in Back to the Future. Lightning comes from heaven. And in the Statue of Liberty post, or in the Statue of Liberty poem, the New Colossus, it mentions the woman has a what is it? Something about lightning. I don't remember what she says there, but something about lightning. Let me see if I can find it. It says, "A mighty woman with a torch, whose flames are the imprisoned lightning, and her name is the mother of exiles." So they talk about imprisoned lightning in that New Colossus poem, which again reminds me of the lightning connection with Barack Obama. It reminds me of the Lucifer thing, because again, in my video yesterday, I talked about Lucifer. I talked about how, Lucifer is clearly coded into this symbolism that they're showing with this character, and the Illuminati, illumination, light. But yeah,
well, Kodi, don't forget about what Rambo talked about last week, closing out our show just with like the thunder, right? I've been on the love theme with that being their sponsor, but let's not forget the thunder. One of their logos, a big part of it is that lightning symbol and Jupiter, right, Rambo?
Yeah. And think of how lightning is so central to Back to the Future. But what does lightning represent? In Greek mythology, Zeus held lightning. Lightning represents that elite level knowledge that was supposed to be withheld from human beings. So Zeus is basically has narcissistic personality disorder on a galactic scale. He's definitely afraid of humans. Humans must not have any of this knowledge. Prometheus steals some of Zeus's lightning and gives it to human beings to the benefit of humans, and he gets tortured by Zeus. So what is lightning? Lightning it's knowledge. So that's actually why lightning is in Back to the Future. It's at a high level of knowledge of how to basically conquer time and create a time travel machine. That's what lightning is. It's knowledge. And you're going to go way, way further back. It's in Frankenstein. When you're creating a life, Frankenstein is basically AI. You're creating a life from what was a dead corpse. What did they use in Frankenstein? It was lightning. Lightning hit the body, and Frankenstein came to life. And again, Barack, they're telling you something. What lightning did. Just think of Frankenstein.
Well, and I don't know, Rambo, if that's where you were going to go, but it was just a few years ago, right? Kodi, I know you were on this too, but that whole story when weren't there two people that were struck by lightning on Barack Obama's birthday? Right, it's the same day that the Lightning won in the NHL.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was a story. I think it was August 4th, 2022. At the White House, there was 2 people from Wisconsin struck by lightning. Wisconsin does equal lightning, I believe, in a couple ciphers.
Yeah,
but yeah,
44.
Yeah, and 44 is Barack Obama was the 44th president. It was on his birthday at the White House. Of course, this was why Joe Biden was president, which Joe Biden was, of course, completely connected to Obama being his vice president. So, yeah, that's crazy. And then with the lightning thing too, like the Bray Wyatt thing, remember Bray Wyatt was the one who died, the wrestler who died, and then his brother took over for him. Well, Bray Wyatt, his last match was called the Pitch Black match, and it was all about lightning because the cover for the show was all these wrestlers looking up into the sky and seeing lightning. Like you could see him looking up, and you can see like lightning kind of drawn into the cover. I don't have it up right now, but it was all about lightning. And then the match that his last match that he was in was the Pitch Black match, and it was called the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. And this was one of the big symbols I got onto that really eventually I think is going to culminate in a bigger blackout. Like an actual, like not just, we just had this Spain blackout like last or 2 months ago. Right. But, yeah, so that Pitch Black match, Mountain Dew was super coded. And then again, that was his last match before he died. His last televised match. And that was against a guy named LA Knight. And LA is, of course, there was a show called 911 The Blackout, which was a blackout in LA. So I've always been kind of following that pattern with that. But anyway, that's all.
I think I mentioned it last week, but in the Big 3 league, right, which is just for like old retired NBA players, the LA team is called the LA Riot. So I just wanted to remind people of that. I think the season just started this past Saturday. It seems like they're kind of like the WWE, where they only play like once a week, and like every team of the league plays in the same arena. They just like rotate kind of thing. But anyways, I just wanted to throw that in there. The LA Riot. But we are a couple minutes over. We're just at the hour 33-minute mark. So I thought we could close it out here. I think a ton was shared. Little too much for me to keep up with my notebook, but I'll make sure to look it back. But thank you guys to everybody who hits the like and subscribe, those that have tuned in and shared in the comments. Wonderful additions, Rambo and Kodi. Couldn't thank you guys enough just for having you in my corner every week. It's always a true blessing, and there's always more to add. And I look forward to staying in touch with you guys for the next week, and then obviously see you guys next Tuesday as well. So thanks again, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Kodi.
Yeah, and thanks, Rambo, I just wanted to say again, that was amazing how they released that hockey commercial, and goes perfectly with your video you shared last week. And also make sure you guys go check out Rambo's video. So you guys, if you guys didn't see it, what he talked about last week fits perfectly in to everything we just talked about with the time and the lightning and all the Back to the Future stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Rambo, for all your great work. And I always, when I watch you, I always end up getting caught on. I always find something myself. So it's just amazing to be collaborating with you. And again, thank you, AJ, for everything. And thank you to everyone in the chat, in my stream and in AJ's stream. And make sure everyone in the chat goes to both streams and likes both streams. I'd appreciate it if everyone does that, because we kind of spread a bit thin now, but because we got people on both. But if everyone could go to AJ's stream and also hit the like over there, and vice versa, that would help us both out. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, appreciate that, Kodi. And just a reminder for everybody, if you're looking to follow or support any of our channels in any ways, all of the links and whatnot are in the description of the video. So thanks again, you guys. Always a pleasure, always a blessing. And until next time, make sure to take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night.
See you, everyone.